A very good Wednesday evening to all of you. Welcome to our midweek devotional, the very first one of 2024. By my clock down there in the corner, it is the 3rd of January, and I have to trust that clock because I have, excuse me, no clue, really, to be honest, what day it is completely because I start every year with a 24-hour lock-in experience, and so I am a zombie. I told my wife that the older I get, the harder it is to get over that. Somehow she is the opposite. She says that the older she gets, the easier it is for her to come back to normal. So, good on her. I am not that, but I am happy to be here, happy to see things are still working just like it was just any other day, because from a certain point of view it is. And I just had a little thought I wanted to share with you. It's something that I return to at the beginning of every year. Many people have, we mentioned on Sunday, the traditions that we uphold and that we need to be teaching. And a lot of people have the tradition of a resolution, or they make a bargain with themselves about something they're going to do into the future. I have a tradition just on my own at the turn of a calendar, and that I make myself, and I use that word specifically, I make myself, it's very tempting not to, I make myself reflect on the year that I have just come through, on making sure I can mark things that I accomplished, things that I did, because for me anyway, the resolution mindset is a poison, because normally what I end up doing is noting the things I failed and not the things that I succeeded in. Now that's probably a personal thing, but maybe there are other people that are personally like that. And so I wanted to encourage you, maybe just for a few minutes, no announcements, no slides, no Christmas memes. All of that has to now wait and hold itself off for another year. But before things begin to grind back into motion, and they will come back just as they have, this little intertestamental period between the close of one year and the beginning of another. Yeah, it's a quiet time. I think rightly so. You've finished and you're preparing to begin again. We've got our marriage conference coming this year. All of a sudden, what I was telling you would be right around the corner literally is, and so I'll have announcements about all that stuff. But before all of that, what does it mean to reflect? This is a passage that we've looked at before at some point. I don't know when. I just know it's in my image folder, and so that means we've looked at it once before. But I also made reference to it on Sunday morning, and so this is the passage that I made reference to in Joshua chapter 4. The Hebrew are crossing the Jordan River. They are going to enter into the region of Jericho. God is about to win a victorious battle on their behalf, with them standing there, blowing their trumpets and shouting at the wall. It will fall. The enemies will be defeated. But as they're moving into that position, there are a lot of people that have to cross that river. There are a lot of miracles taking place all at one time, and one of them is that as with the Red Sea, the water of that river is held at bay. It is pushed back so that they walk through. And they're commanded, Joshua tells them, on behalf of what God had commanded, to grab stones as they crossed. And then here we see God explaining why. Joshua, all of these people will understand why these stones matter in the future. When your children ask of you, or ask you, what do these stones mean to you? These stones that you were commanded to stack on the riverbank. You should tell them this. You should keep this tradition. You see, the water of the Jordan was cut off in front of the ark of the Lord's covenant, and when it crossed the Jordan's water was cut off. Therefore, these stones will be a memorial, always be a memorial for the Israelites. This will be a chance for them to stop and remember, to memorialize something, to reflect on it, to, no matter where you end up in a situation, to be able to reflect back on where you were or what you have seen, what you have done. It's too tempting for us today to think that we don't have accomplishments, that we haven't done anything or succeeded in anything. And that's a poisonous attitude to have, and I know all too well how it feels to have that attitude. I confess that. And so if you're like me, you have to be forced to look at what you did do, and sometimes we have to build into our day a system where we make that easier to do than not, so that it's not something we easily put down. These stones would just have sat there so that we could see them, but they also needed to be maintained and protected. I don't want some random guy just walking up and falling over into the monument of stones, and then they fall over, and then maybe we forget to put them back together, or stack them back on top of one another, and then now nobody's remembering what had come before. So I'm going to give you an example. It's just a nerd example, but it's something I do, and I just want you to see, because maybe it gives you an idea of how to do them. Now, as long as I've got this working correctly, then what you see is just a window on this computer that I'm recording. And this is, you can see up here the title OBS. That's the name of the program I'm using right now to record this with you. And this is just the folder system that I have for all of these devotions that we've been making together since 2020. Now, this file right here that has just numbers in it, that's literally this file that I'm making right now that I will eventually upload to be on Facebook and YouTube tonight. Here is my image folder, and so when I tell you I already had this image, each one of these is one of either a photograph that I used in discussion or a Bible verse that we have used in our studies together, as God has given us the chance to do all of this over all of these years. So you can see when I pick something, if it's already in here, then I know we've discussed it before, and so on. But you see all these folders with dates in them. Well, here's this year, 2024. So if I think about what I've done this year, I've done nothing. All right, nothing. There's nothing there yet. And if I look in here, there's not a whole lot here. So I think, well, what have I done? Well, just these 4 things in the past, and that, no big deal. Well, then what if I dig into them? What if I make myself look and see that all of these different times, 53 different files in just this one folder, all of these times represent a moment that I sat down, that I prepared myself, that I spent time with the Lord, that I shared that with whoever you are, that you may come across these things. Each and every one of these is a moment of accomplishment. Then I can go back to 2022, and I can see here, I've got these moments of accomplishment again. And then some of these have this audio. This is where I have ripped the audio from a lot of those files, because my wife wants me to have audio versions of them, something she wants to do in the future, I think. So, I'm an obedient husband, and so here they are. Same thing here. I did it in 22, 23. I just haven't done it or 21 and 22. I haven't done it for 23 yet. I'll have to get that accomplished. But then you go all the way back to where we started. This is the very beginning. Here we are, and then I created my naming system about what I would call it, and including the date. And all this time later, I wish I had included the Bible verse so that I could see. But I make myself look and say, look, we did this. We got this done. Were there a lot of other, look at the overalls. That was Bible school time. Not an overall fan. But anyway, all of that to be reminded that, you did something. You succeeded in even if it was a little thing, you did that thing, and that matters. And so this passage in Joshua wasn't to make a marker for some little thing. This was a marker of a miracle. But the point stands that we have to give ourselves a chance to reflect on what we did accomplish. What did I succeed in? Does that mean that I'm going to come across things that I didn't actually finish, or that I didn't actually get to? Well, I was going to lose 30 pounds and instead I gained 5 or 10 or 20 or whatever it is. Okay. We shouldn't set up a system where we applaud that we didn't succeed necessarily, but did you try? Was there effort? And if there wasn't, even still, could there be effort now? Are you willing to get back up? Are you willing to try again? I like movies and movie quotes, and I remember, this is not some deep movie, but in one of the Batman movies of all things, I know that there's a scene right at the very beginning where little Bruce Wayne falls down a well, and he hurts his arm, and his dad says, "Bruce, why do we fall? So we can get up again." Why do we fall? So we can get up. We don't fall so that we can just lay there and be failures, because we're not. We're children of the creator of the universe. We're children of the king. We are some kind of a big deal. And so I just encourage you to spend here, before all of it ramps back up. Maybe it already has. But before you get too deep, before all of a sudden it's January 31st and you realize this year is going to roll by just as quickly as the ones before it, stop and think about the ways you did succeed, the things you did accomplish. Write them down. Make notes about them. Make folders. Document. Make a type of document that you could read through, or a bag where you put little notes about what you accomplished that sticks out to you. And then at the end of the year, you can go read them and remember you did something. And what you did, what I hope, is that as we grow together, we learn more and more that what we did mattered. because we were busy doing things that matter. This is why we have been redeemed, to do these great and mighty things. And I want to be doing them, and I want to be doing them with you. And then I want the chance to take note of it. So that's my thought here at the very beginning of the year. I hope God would use it to bless you. Let me just pray a blessing for the year to come and all of the good that God has laid up for us before we close tonight. Father, thank you always, always. Thank you. Here we start another year, another folder already created to be filled with opportunities that we've used to gather together. Spend just a few moments considering all of the ways that you seek to reach into our hearts and speak into our lives and guide us in the ways that we should go. I pray that we would see that path laid clearly before us in 2024. And in spite of all that might be to come, all that we can and even can't imagine, whether we would define it as good, bad, difficult, or easy, whether it's something we've been planning for or something that takes us by surprise, I pray that this is a year like all other years should be, and I pray many others have been. Lord, I just pray that this coming year would be a year of reliance, where we would just rest in your goodness and rest in the fact that you know exactly what you're doing and what needs to be done. And our calling, our job, our responsibility is to trust you, follow you, and rely on you. And so help this be the year of reliance, where we relied on the Lord and grew in our understanding of trust and service, discipleship and obedience, that we could see the glory that would come from those things. Father, I pray you would anoint that desire in my heart and in the heart of my family, that we would be reliant on you in the year to come, and that we would see the good that comes from it. And I ask that in my Savior's name. In the name of Jesus, I pray. To start the year off, I clicked the wrong button, and so now there's going to be like a boop jerk in between these two videos. So what? Back in the day, I might have started all over. I'm not going to do that. I'm too old to do that now. So start off the year with a mistake so that we can remember mistakes don't mean ruin. They just mean a chance to learn. I learned that I was pushing the wrong button right as I was pushing it. So I'm going to stop before I push any more buttons. I pray that God would bless you and keep you, not only in the first week of the year finishing itself out, but in every day that is to come after that, that we would see clearly the plan he has for us, and we'd all be as eager as the next to follow him wherever he leads. I love you. Thank you so much for making all those folders possible and have a purpose, and for the folders that are to come. I look forward to spending time with you each and every week. I pray you do as well. I'll see you next time, everybody. Good night. Bye-bye.